Andrea Clausen here, and today we have another gentle yoga practice. So we're going to go ahead and get started either sitting upright or laying down on your back. So we're just going to take a few minutes just to kind of ground in and connect in with our body today. So go ahead and just take an inhale in through the nose, and open mouth exhale out through the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times, breathing in through the nose. Open mouth exhale out through the mouth. Once more. And feel yourself grounding down into the space. Connecting in with the mat. Noticing body parts that are connected to the floor. So if you're sitting up or laying down, just kind of connecting in. Where are your feet? Where are your hips? Bring your awareness into the shoulders. Is your head tilted to one side or the other? Just do another body scan, starting with the toes, working your way up through the head. Noticing any tension. If you have an area that might be a little tense, maybe you want to squeeze that area and just relax it. Maybe you want to roll the shoulders if it's up in the neck, down and back. Maybe having your head tilt from the left shoulder to the right. How can you find some space and try to relax? Use that exhale to release the tension. Inhale, building up and finding that strength and opening. Exhale, letting go. Next, we're going to do just a little bit of grounding. So with those eyes closed still, we're going to go ahead and take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And then when we exhale, envision ruby red roots coming down through the spine, down through the floorboards, down through the earth, through the dirt, the grass, the red clay. See those branches and those roots growing far and wide, connecting you down to the center of the earth, grounding you into this spot. On an inhale, pulling up a bright white light through those roots, pulling it back up through the red clay, through the dirt, through the grass, through the floorboards, up through the mat, through the base of your spine, seeing it come all the way up and come out the top of your head and showering around your body, building your own little shield, protecting your energy. Taking a deep inhale in. On your exhale, coming back down, building those roots just a little deeper. Seeing those ruby red roots go down through the spine, down through the floorboard, through the mat, through the earth, through the dirt, the grass. Seeing those roots grow far and wide, maybe get a little bit thicker. Connecting you down to the center of earth. Breathing that in. Feeling yourself get a little bit more grounded, feeling that heavier energy. Then on that inhale, pulling that white light up, back through those roots, back through the red clay, through the grass, through the dirt, through your floorboards, through your mat, up the base of your spine, coming out the top of your head, and showering around your body. Building your shield, building your energetic shield. And just breathing that in. Sealing off the mouth if you haven't already, taking your inhales and exhales through the nose. into a 4 squared breath next. So what that looks like, if you know it, you can go ahead and into it. Otherwise, you're going to inhale for a count of 4 through the nose. You'll hold your breath for a count of 4. You'll exhale out through the nose for a count of 4. Then you'll hold your breath at the bottom for a count of 4. So you'll inhale for a count of 4 through the nose. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. And hold at the bottom for 4. We're going to continue with that pattern 3 more cycles. Once you've completed your 3 cycles, go ahead and release that breath. Rolling the chin into the chest. Gently opening the eyes, bringing your head back to center. We're going to go ahead and get started on our backs today. So you're going to go ahead and lie down. And if you were sitting on something, maybe you move that off to the side. I like to have my blocks here just in case, but we're going to go ahead and lay down on our back. So grabbing behind the knees, gently rolling down onto your spine. Now from here, that was a nice little crack I just had. You're just going to let those knees go the width of the mat. You're going to let them fall from left to right. So just opening up through those quads, letting those knees fall left to right. Hands can be out at field goal. They can be at the belly, wherever you want those hands. The next time those knees are to the right, you're going to go ahead and let them fall there. Just opening up through the quads and the lower body. And then exhale, bringing them back to center, taking them to the opposite side, letting them fall, opening up through the quads. And the next inhale, bringing them back to center. We're going to go ahead and hug those knees into the chest. So rocking gently side to side on the spine, massaging out that low back. And then we're going to go ahead and place that left foot down on the floor. Bending into the right knee, you're going to go ahead and grab behind that right knee. You're going to go ahead and take an inhale. Your exhale, you're going to point the toe up towards the sky, opening through that right hamstring. Flexing those foot back to the face now, opening up a little bit more through the calf. Taking an inhale, and then exhale, you're going to go ahead and bend back into the knee, pointing the toes down to the floor. Taking an inhale here. Exhale, opening up through that hamstring, toes point back towards the face, opening into that calf. Inhale, and exhale, you find that movement. So you're going to go ahead and find that breath pattern on your own. You'll inhale to hold. Exhale, you'll move. Once you're at the top, opening those toes back to the face. Inhale and exhale, move. We're going to take that twice more on this side. If you want to engage through that low belly, go ahead and push that low back down into the floor. Once more, opening through that calf, that hamstring. And then we're going to go ahead and hug that right knee into the chest. You're going to go ahead and grab the inside or outside arch of that right foot, taking half happy baby. Bringing the left hand to the left hip, trying to keep that left hip down on the mat, pull the shoulders down and away from your ears, and really trying to get that knee at 90 degrees. So you're really getting a nice opening through that hip. And then we're going to go ahead and bring that right ankle on top of the left knee, and this might be where you stay. So we might be gently opening the hips, or if you want to go ahead and pull the left knee into the chest, grabbing behind that left knee, flexing your toes, flexing those feet, opening through that hip.
So getting just into that right glute and that right hip area, keeping that low back grounded. Using that exhale to release any tension. One more deep breath here. And the next exhale, releasing that left foot back to the floor, uncrossing that right foot, placing that right foot down on the floor, pulling the left knee into the chest. Starting here, just opening up through that hip. Then we'll grab behind that left knee and opening through that hamstring. So taking an inhale to prepare, exhale, straighten through that leg, toes turn back towards the face, opening through that left hamstring. Breathing in here. And then taking an exhale, pointing the toes back down towards the floor. Inhale there. Exhale, finding that movement. Inhale to hold, exhale to move. Taking a few more with your breath. Noticing how one side of the body feels compared to the other. And not judging, but just noticing. The next time that left leg is pointed to the floor, go ahead and stay there. Bend into that left knee. Grab the inside or outside arch of that left foot, opening into half happy baby on this side. Keeping that right hip down, opening up through that hip. And then exhale, crossing that left ankle on top of the right knee. Staying here, maybe pulling that knee into the chest, opening through that left hip. Keeping those shoulders down and away from the ears. Breathing gently here to open up. One more deep breath. And then you're going to exhale, releasing that right foot back to the floor, uncrossing the left. And then you're just going to once more take that windshield wiper, dropping those knees from left to right, massaging that low back and hips. And then taking it back to center. Now we're going to take it through a little bit of a movement here to warm up the core and warming up the hips and the glutes once more, but this one's going to be a little bit more dynamic movement. So we're going to go ahead and hands are going to be alongside our hips. We're going to go ahead and lift our hips to the sky as we lift those arms up and overhead. So those hips and those arms are at their highest points once their arms are down, hips are up. You're going to go ahead and lower those hips down. Arms are going to come to chest height, so they're coming straight up. Your feet are going to hop out about half an inch in front. And you're going to go ahead and maybe you do a full sit-up, maybe you do a half sit-up. But we're going to warm up the core, crunching up, lowering back down. Arms are lifting back overhead. Feet will come in about half an inch. Hips lift up, arms lift up. And then exhale those hips down, arms to chest height. Feet will come out again about half an inch. You might crunch all the way up, or you might just do a half crunch. And then you're going to lower down, arms and hips lifting. Inhale to hold, exhale finding that movement. So you're once more going to follow this with your own breath, and everyone's is going to look a little bit different depending on how that crunch looks. But making sure that you move those feet forward and back every time that you come. Up and down. Lifting up, exhaling as you lift. Lowering gently down. Finding that space and taking this at a pace that feels good in your body. So again, I like to be nice, slow, controlled. If you want to go a little faster, you can. Just make sure that your form is staying strong. So you should not feel this in your low back. We're going to take 2 more, so wherever you're at. Last one. You're going to go ahead and hold that bridge. Once you're back at that bridge, arms lift up overhead. Keeping those hips lifted. Now those arms are going to come alongside the hips. Hips are going to stay up though. Taking 3 more breaths here. You can keep those arms here. Maybe you interlace those fingers and shimmy the shoulders underneath. Opening up through the chest. Pull those the chin away from the chest, opening through the neck. If you have your fingers interlaced, go ahead and release them, lowering back down onto your back, hugging the knees into the chest, rocking side to side in the spine. And you can either roll onto your side and gently come to all fours, or you can roll like a ball and come up and flip to all fours. So we're coming now to all fours. And then we're going to start with a few just cat-cows. So we're just going to let that low belly look sink down, looking up towards the front of the room, rolling through that spine, looking back between your knees. We're going to go ahead and follow your breath here. Inhale, pulls you forward. Exhale, round. So really connecting that breath to the movement. We got 2 more. And then we're going to go ahead and find a nice flat spine. So from here, we're going to go ahead and warm up with a few bird dogs. We're going to keep staying with that core connection. You're going to take that left foot straight back behind you, toes curl down towards the floor, right arm reaches in front, thumb is up. You're going to pulse to the sky for 2, and then crunch elbow and knee together, and then lengthen back out. Pulse for 2, and then crunch in. So your inhale is when you're pulsing, exhale, pulling together. One more. And then we're going to go ahead and release that side. Maybe shimmy the hips from left to right, whatever would feel good. Then we're going to go ahead and find that neutral spine. Right leg is kicking back, toes curled under, left thumb is up. Pulse for 2. Exhale, pull knee and elbow together. Inhale, pulse. Exhale, working together. Last one. And then we're going to go ahead and come back to all fours. And again, whatever you need to do, shimmy hips left from right. And then we're just going to take those toes together, knees out wide, sitting back into a child's pose, opening up through the back side of our body. Forehead comes down to the mat. Releasing through those hips. And then we're going to walk those hands to the left corner of our mat. Right arm is going to pull back, opening through the right side body. Walking those hands to center, taking to the opposite corner of the mat, pulling that left hip back, opening through the left side body. And then coming back through to center, coming back to all fours. We're going to go ahead and take our left hand right underneath our nose. Right arm is going to come behind the head. And we're going to open our chest up, so we're getting a nice twist here. Crunching down, right elbow to the left forearm, and then opening back up. Knees can be a little bit wider to make room for the hips. So you're getting a nice little twist in that torso. Inhale to open, exhale to crunch. We have 2 more. Last one. And then you're going to go ahead and take that left hand right underneath the nose. And then the right hand underneath the nose, left hand behind the head, opening up to the side, crunching that left elbow to the forearm. So opening up, getting a nice twist in that torso. Knees can go as wide as feels comfortable in that low back. You should not feel any pain. 2 more. After this one, you're going to go ahead and place that left hand down to the mat. Take those hands and you're going to walk them to the front edge of your mat. And we're going to take puppy dog pose. So opening up through right between the heart and the shoulder blades. So right in the back of the heart, you're going to let that forehead maybe come down all the way to the mat or onto a yoga block and release through that mid-back. So let everything relax and let everything go. So if your forehead is not connected to something, go ahead and put a blanket or a block underneath the forehead. Opening behind the shoulders. 3 more deep breaths. Hips and knees are staying in alignment, so you're not pushing back into a child's pose. After you've had that 3rd shoulders, coming back up to all fours. Bring those knees back together. And then from here, we're just going to curl our toes under, and we're going to lift our hips up. So our knees are going to come up, and they're going to hover above the floor. So we're going to hover up, and now we're just in our bear crawl hover hold pose. So we're going to be here, and we're just bringing awareness into that low belly, warming up through those quads. Pull those shoulders down and away from your ears for 3. And then dropping those knees down, releasing those toes, taking a few cat-cows. Finding that neutral spine, curling those toes under once more. This time we're going to add some movement to it. So you're going to go ahead and curl those toes under, lift those knees up off the mat, and you're going to tap your right toe off your mat, back to center, and then left toe. So we're just alternating sides, keeping those knees barely above the mat. So knees and hips are in alignment. One more each side. And then holding, low belly is drawn in, shoulders pulled down and back. And then drop those knees down, toes come together. Child's pose, arms can reach out long or come beside your body. And then coming back up to all fours. So from here, we're going to go ahead and take that right leg straight back behind us. Pull the right knee into the chest, place that right foot between the hands. Now you can stay here, or you can go ahead and curl that back toe under and lift that left knee off the mat. So from here, we're just going to maybe gently rock forward and back, opening through that hip. If you need to, you could always have a block underneath that left hand, because we're going to go into a gentle twist next. So finding stillness, that left hand will stay where it is. Right arm is going to open up into a twist. If you need to, that back knee can go down to the mat. Opening here, breathing all the way down to the low belly. And then exhale, taking that right hand, framing that right foot, stepping it back. High plank. So staying in a nice firm plank from your toes or your knees. And then dropping down to the knees. We're going to go ahead and take that left leg straight back behind us, pull that left foot and placing it in between our hands, dropping those hips down to the mat. Staying here, or curling the right toe under, lifting that knee up off the floor, and then gently finding some movement here. Forward and back. And then we'll go ahead and find some stillness, leaving that right hand down, left arm opens up to the sky in a twist. Keeping those shoulders pulled down and back. And then that left hand is framing that left foot, stepping it back, high plank. And pushing your hips up and back, down dog. Pedaling out those heels, warming up those calves. And then to find the right down dog position, go ahead and transition from your down dog into a high plank. You should not have to move your hands or your feet at all if you're in the right spot. So just taking a few of these, once more testing out your down dog and warming up the core. We got one more, and then you're going to hold that down dog. And then you're going to take that right leg high to the sky, place that right foot between the hands, spin your left heel down to the mat, coming up into your warrior one. So bending into that front knee, right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward, shoulders down and away from the ears. Straightening through that right leg, hinging forward, coming into pyramid pose, dropping that nose down towards the knee. You can always use your blocks, so if you have your blocks, you can take those hands down to the blocks, down to the floor. But wherever you're at, you're pulling that right hip back, left hip is pulling forward, releasing, gripping in the toes. Two more deep breaths here. Exhale, bending back into that right knee, arms lifting back up into warrior one. And then we're going to go ahead and drop that right arm down. Left arm is going to go ahead and reach down towards the outside of that right ankle. And then you're going to open back up. So as we're doing this, we're getting a little strength into that front glute. You might feel a stretch in that back calf. And working on that stability through that front leg. We have 2 more. After this one, you're going to go ahead and open those arms back up. Warrior 1. Straightening once more, coming down into pyramid pose. This time, because it's our second time here, can you go any deeper? Can you release just a little more? You have those blocks up the tall height. Maybe you flip them to a little bit lower height. Maintaining that right hip pulling back. Two more deep breaths here, releasing. And then if you have those blocks, go ahead and move them to the side, bend into that right knee, turn your left toes to face forward so you're in that low lunge, step it back, high plank, and push those hips up and back, down dog. Go ahead and take that left leg high to the sky, place that left foot between the hands, spin that right heel down, coming up into a warrior 1 on the left side. Finding your placement here, pulling that left hip back, right hip pulls forward, releasing, gripping in the toes, pulling those shoulders away from the ears. Can you bend a little deeper into that front knee? On your next exhale, straightening through that left leg, hinging forward, coming into pyramid, taking those hands to the floor, to your shin, to blocks. Shoulders pulled down and away. Nice flat back here. Left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward. Two more deep breaths. Bending back into that left knee, arms lift up and overhead. Warrior 1. Taking time to reset if you need. And we'll drop that left hand down alongside our left side of our body. And then that right arm is coming down towards the outside of that left ankle and lifting back up. So you're getting a little twist through the spine, but you're also maintaining your hips nice and level. So that left hip is staying pulled back. Exhaling as you come forward. Releasing, gripping through the toes. Taking once more. Arms lift back up and overhead, straightening through that front leg once more. Coming into your pyramid and seeing once more, how can you maybe go just a little deeper? Can you release anywhere? Using that breath to relax. Two more deep breaths. And then exhale, bend into that knee, placing the blocks off to the side, pivot on the right toe so it's facing forward, stepping it back, high plank. This time, from our high plank, we're going to go ahead and lower down onto our belly, and we're going to pull through into Sphinx. Release your toes, pull your forearms through, and we're going to go ahead and pull those forearms so your shoulders and your elbow are in alignment, and you're opening through that low back. So this might feel great, and you might really enjoy this. If this does not feel good, you can go ahead and come into crocodile, releasing that forehead down. If this feels good and you want to go a little bit farther, take that right knee out to the side, and you're going to go ahead and bend into that right knee. So this is going to open up a little bit more one side at a time. And so breathing, opening the hip, opening through that low back, and through that spine. Making sure you're not crunching into the neck, so keeping that neck nice and long. If you have that right knee out, go ahead and pull the right knee back in. And we'll take that left knee out to the side. Keep those shoulders pulled down. Two more deep breaths here. And then pulling that knee back in. Taking those hands back beside the chest, release the forehead down. From your toes or your knees, you're going to push up like one straight board into a high plank, and then back to your down dog. From here, you're looking between the hands. Go ahead and hop or walk those feet behind the wrist, coming into a forward fold. Grabbing opposite elbows, ragdoll pose. Releasing that head nice and heavy. Relaxing into that forward fold. Releasing those hands to the floor, coming up halfway lift. Back to your forward fold, rising all the way up, arms lift up and overhead. Palms coming together, coming to heart center. And then releasing those arms at your sides. I'm going to go ahead and turn forwards. But we're going to come back into that 4 square breath. So maybe those eyes gently close, but we're going to come here. We're going to inhale for a count of 4. Hold the breath at the top for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4 and hold at the bottom for a count of 4. We're going to do that 3 times. Once you've done that 3 times, go ahead and release that, gently opening the eyes. All right, we're going to come into our balancing pose. So we're going to go ahead and do dancer's pose today. So I'm going to turn back sideways on my mat so I have a little bit more room to kick back. So we're going to go ahead and take our left foot, ground down to that left foot, bend into the right knee, grab the inside arch of that right foot. Now this might be where you stay, so this could be it. Or that left hand is going to reach up towards the sky, and you're going to kick back into that right hand. So I'm going to kick back as I'm opening up. My left arm is reaching forward. I'm kicking so hard into this hand, if I release my right foot, it will fly back behind me. Holding here. 2 more deep breaths. And then exhale, releasing, coming to stand at center. Maybe rocking from heels to toes, shaking that side out. All right, we're going to ground down now through that right foot. Then into the left knee, grabbing the left inside arch of that foot. Right arm is reaching towards the sky. Same thing, we're going to kick back into that hand as we tip forward, opening through that quad and the chest. Releasing, gripping through that standing toes. One more deep breath here. And exhale, releasing. And this time we're going to go ahead and rock our weight from left to right. And then forward and back. All right, our next balancing pose, we're going to do a little balancing with a dynamic movement. So we're going to ground down through that left leg once more. Bend into that right knee. It's going to be up at 90 degrees. Arms are going to be straight out in front of the chest. From here, we're going to open that right arm up like a book. Right knee stays facing forward, so we're getting a twist in the spine, and then we're going to close that book. So as we're doing this, that right knee is not opening to the side. So the right knee is staying facing forward the whole time. So you're just opening and closing that book, trying to ground down. Noticing if you're gripping through your left toes, can you release that? And if you're really struggling with this, you can always hold on to a chair or a wall with that left hand. And you don't have to follow that hand back. So following the hand back like I'm doing is a little bit more tricky as well. So you can always stay looking forward. But by turning your head, it makes it just a little bit more challenging. We're going to take it once more on this side. Now listen up. Those arms are going to come forward. The right knee is going to stay up. We're going to kick back into a warrior 3. So your arms can go back behind you into airplane or out to the sides, or bringing them straight out in front. Right hip peels down, flexing your right foot like you're stepping on the wall behind you. Pulse up for 2 with your arms and your legs. So 1, 2, crunch together. So we're kind of circling back that bird dog. So pulse for 2, come together. We're just going to do 2 more. Pulse for 2, crunch it together. We got 1 more. Pulse, 2, crunch. And then you're going to slowly stand on up, placing that right foot down. All right, so we kind of circled back a little bit. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing now on the other side. So this time we're grounded down through that right foot. Left knee is coming up to 90 degrees, arms straight out in front of the chest. Opening that left arm up like a book, and then go ahead and close it. So I kind of like to pair this with my breath. So inhale might open, exhale might close. Releasing, gripping through the right toes. Making sure that left knee doesn't open up with the arm. Everything is staying nice and together. Looking good. We're going to do another 2. After this next one, when you close that book, you're going to go ahead and keep that left leg lifted, kicking it back to your warrior 3. Arms can come back once more, airplane out to the sides or straight out in front. Woo. And we're going to go ahead and pulse up for 2, and then crunching it together. So inhale when you pulse up. Exhale as you come together. We got 2 more. 1 more. And then slowly standing on up. Very good. We're going to go ahead and step to the top of our mat. Arms lift up and overhead. Forward fold it down. Stepping or hopping those feet back, high plank. This time we're going to chaturanga down. Elbows stay right next to the body. Coming into an up dog or cobra. And we're going to go ahead and push back. Child's pose. Toes together. Knees out wide, arms reach forward. And I just want you to connect back to that 4 square breath just once more. So coming in for inhale of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. And then we'll all come back up to all 4s. All right, so once we're here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a few little yin poses. So we're going to do our pigeon pose next. So you're going to go ahead and push back to a down dog, curling those toes under. Take that right knee behind the right wrist, pulling that leg through, lengthening that left leg long, sitting up nice and tall. Coming down to those elbows, and then making sure your head is supported. So maybe your head rests on your fist if they're stacked, or maybe you're laying on the floor, or if you have a block, you can let that forehead rest on the block. But we're going to settle in here for about 90 seconds, opening through that hip. And if you have a blanket handy and that right hip isn't quite on the floor, you can always put a blanket underneath just to relax, just a little bit more. So I like it there because it helps me release, because just knowing that I have something there to support it. Maybe you come back to that 4 square breath. Maybe you come back to an exhale being 2 counts longer than an inhale. But just settling in on this side. On your next exhale, you're going to go ahead and come back up onto those hands. And then lifting that left toes, curling it under, lifting that right hip up and back, pushing back into a down dog. And then when you're ready, that left knee is coming behind the left wrist, lengthening that right leg back. Maybe that blanket goes under the right hip, finding that space in the back, and then coming down into your pigeon pose, whatever that might look like. And you can always come onto your back and do your hip opener like we did in the beginning. So if this is not accessible to you, that is always an option. And if 90 seconds is just too much, please come out of it early. There is no shame in that. And then you can just quietly meditate. exhale, gently coming back up to your hands if you're on your forearms, and then coming back. This time coming to all fours, maybe swinging those hips from left to right. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to take a seat. I'm going to actually, because I have tight hamstrings, I'm going to demo on a blanket. So if you have tight hamstrings, sitting up on something, even if it's just a little bit of a ledge, is kind of nice. And if you have a strap, if you have a belt, that can also work for this pose. But we're going to go ahead and take our left leg straight out in front of us. Our right ankle is going to come right above our left knee. And this might be enough. So you might already feel it. This is where you want to stay. Or you might walk those hands down towards your left toes. And for me, I feel it just plenty right here. So I'm going to stay here. But maybe you grab your left toes. Wherever you're at, your left toe is flexed. And so that way you get a little stretch in that calf. You might have a little hip opener on the right side, but a major one on that left hamstring and the left calf. And we're going to breathe here. Inhale, find that space. Exhale, can you go a little bit deeper? And then exhale, slowly come back up. And then we'll uncross that leg. Right leg can reach long. Left ankle is coming right above the right knee, flexing through those right toes. And each side is a little different, so finding your variation on this side. Walking those hands forward, feeling that nice hamstring opener. And we'll breathe here. And then we'll slowly exhale, coming back up, reaching both legs long. Excuse me. Felt that one coming. Both legs are going to be reaching long. We're going to go ahead and walk those hands down towards the toes, keeping the heart open, so trying to keep a nice flat back. So once more, if you have a strap or if you have a belt, you can wrap that around your arches of your feet and use that to hold if you cannot already reach your toes. Now this is going to get into more of the hamstrings. If you might be a little bit more tight in your back and that's what's causing this issue, you might want to go ahead and bend into your knees and grab the outside arches, and now I can get it a little bit more into my spine. So if you're a little bit tight in the back side of your legs and in your back like I am, this is always a great alternative to kind of get into the spine. So pull those shoulders down your back. 2 more deep breaths here. And then we're going to exhale, release. We're going to take the soles of your feet together into our butterfly pose. So once more, you can stay seated up on that blanket if you're on a blanket or on a ledge. Knees are going to come out wide. Feet come together, sitting up nice and tall. Maybe you hinge forward. Your forearms might come down onto your ankles. But once more, trying to keep that back pulled back. So you're working on that stability of the spine. Exhale can deepen you. Inhale can lengthen you. More deep breaths. And then we're going to exhale, coming back up to sit up nice and tall. Bring those knees together. You're going to go ahead and come to lie down on your mat. If you have your blanket there, you might move it off to the side. Grabbing behind the knees, slowly rolling down onto your spine, pulling those knees into the chest once you get there, massaging out that low back. And then we're just going to go ahead and take a twist here. So we're going to lengthen on that right leg. That left leg is going to go ahead and cross across the body. You might guide it with your right hand. So you're taking a twist here. Left arm is opening up to the side. So you're getting a nice little opening through that left side of the body. Maybe the left knee touches the floor, maybe not. But that left shoulder should stay connected to the floor behind you. You can look up towards the ceiling or over your left shoulder. Inhale, finding your space. Exhale, maybe deepening the twist. On your next exhale, gently come back to center, pulling the knees into the chest or doing any counter pose that you need. And then we're going to go ahead and take that left leg long. Left hand come to the right knee, right arm out to the side, gently guiding that right knee across the body, finding your twist on this side. Right shoulder staying down this time, looking up to the ceiling or over that right palm. On your next exhale, pulling it back to center, hugging the knees into the chest. Coming back into happy baby, this time full happy baby, grabbing the outside or inside arches of those feet. Low back push down to the mat. And then releasing those feet to the mat, arms alongside the hips. We're going to go ahead and come into that bridge one more time. Arms lift up and overhead, opening through the body. And then releasing everything down, hug those knees in. And then we're going to get ready for our final Shavasana. So if you want something underneath your head, or if you want a bolster underneath your knees and you have one, that is always a great option. But finding your Shavasana, palms flip up to the sky, relaxing here. And we're going to be here for a couple minutes, and I'm going to let you know when it's time to come out. I invite you to connect back into that 4 square breath, or just releasing and relieving everything and leaving it all here on the mat. So whatever you need to release and let go of. We'll be here for 2 minutes, and I'm going to let you know when it's time to come out. Gently start to wiggle fingers to toes, pulling ankles and wrists around. Maybe turning your head from left to right. And then just pausing. Noticing which side you want to roll onto today. Sometimes the right side is associated with the masculine side, so if you need to get things done, it's your to-do, let's go side. And then the right side is associated with the feminine side, so a little bit more flowy, relaxing energy. So So just taking note in your body which side you feel called to roll onto today. And take a few breaths there, using your head as a pillow. And then gently pushing up into your hands, coming to a seated position. Eyes can be gently closed. And we're just going to take a moment to seal in today's practice. Go ahead, bring those palms up together above our head. Bringing them down to our third eye, trusting your intuition. Bringing your hands to your lips, speaking your truth. Bringing your hands to heart center, knowing yourself. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Thank you all so much. Thanks again, and I will see you at the next yoga practice or workout.